Hello, everyone. This is the night that we've been waiting for. My name is Margie Aliprandi, and we are very excited to share with you this new product that we are launching that will be available for purchase tomorrow. And the deeper that I've dived into the ingredient deck of this particular product, the more excited I have become moment by moment. Cannot wait to get this in my hands again. I'm really pleased to have Jaron Gladstone with me. Will you, let's bring Jaron in, and let me tell you just a little bit about him. You'll remember him as the formulator of our beloved snow collagen. He's an innovator and at the forefront of health and wellness in the industry, specializing in researching, manufacturing, and developing botanical, therapeutic, prophylactic, and systemic solutions. Among his proudest achievements are successful clinical trials, achieving GMP 111 certification, and the import and export of prescription designated products. Jaron also developed an international operation and a product line for a group of neurologists. He thrives on competence. He loves educating people, and he takes incredible pride when someone understands and applies the concepts that he teaches. What really drives him is his zeal for his work and the positive impact that it can have and make in other people's lives. As he continues to stride confidently into new frontiers for better for you solutions, he's always eager to expand his network and value-driven professional engagements and collaboration. So this is a really cool thing all around. When he's not nerding out or geeking out on the science like some of us do, he, with his latest and his greatest, he enjoys moderate to difficult hikes. He enjoys nature, cooking, reading every ingredient label on every product in the grocery store. Like, is this guy our dude or what? Welcome, Jaron. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the introduction and welcome everybody to tonight's educational session on our exciting product.
Um, we don't want to, Jaron, we don't want to spill the beans too quickly. Maybe we should sip on something that would make our brains stronger first, but there's definitely something brewing. What would you say?
And indeed, I got something fresh out of the pot for you guys.
Okay, Sean, bring up the first slide. Drum roll, please. So, my friends, Nueva morning, a smarter brew for a better brain, sustained energy, elevated focus, our own nootropic brew, a coffee blend that is infused with brain supportive ingredients that will bring clear energy, calm focus, daily vitality, and it helps your brain simply to work better. It supports alertness, concentration, learning, memory, healthy brain aging, all while being safe and non-toxic. It is a really big deal. Next slide, please. So when we were talking about this formula, Jaron told me that there's a trend in formulating right now where it's kind of a minimalistic approach to ingredients, like get the right ingredients, the ones that have bang for the buck, and have it be 10 or less. So this definitely falls into that category with 9 key ingredients. But what I want to also emphasize is Jaron is a brilliant formulator. We have seen and experienced now firsthand what he did with snow collagen. Every ingredient deliberately chosen, the synergy between the ingredients as we talk about them and each one, the role they play in the formula, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he's absolutely brilliant. So tell us a little bit about this, 10 or less trend that's so popular right now.
Sure. So if we look historically from products early 80s, the 1980s and the 1990s is where we had seen somewhat of a transition from products being more pure and raw to having a bit more filler. It delivered to us consumers the perspective that we were getting more, but in reality, we weren't necessarily getting more of what we wanted. So there was a very conscious decision as it related to making this specific SKU, in that we didn't want to make any choices where we're thinking about fillers and other cuts, if you will, into this product. And as we'll get to here in a moment, if we look at certain ingredients like the Ceylon cinnamon or the cacao, while those, of course, do take up space, their purpose chosen in that they not only provide flavor modulation or flavor for everyone to enjoy, but also have their own unique benefits outside of just being a flavor component to the formulation.
Next slide, please. So this is Colombian. Next slide. There we go. This is Colombian coffee, and I want to assure you that it is mold free. And I want to tell you a little bit about coffee grown in this region. So, first of all, Colombian coffee is grown on small farms high in the Andes. And so they're in the shade. There's a minimal exposure to pests, so no worry about pesticides. And they're also grown in rich, volcanic, fertile soil without chemical input. This is a super big deal. And they're also hand-picked so that you get them at their peak of ripeness. All of these pieces matter, and I'm going to leave it to you to tell us a little bit more about our Colombian coffee source, Jaron.
Sure. So outside of it being a really natural single origin bean and smooth and velvety, that when you evaluate a multitude of coffees that exist in the market, some that promote different origins, some that are blends, etc., you can actually taste a significant difference between something that would be single origin or something that is maybe a full spectrum coffee or a hodgepodge of different origins. So our decision to go with Colombian coffee allows us to have a very unique flavor profile where some of these other coffees are often tasting burnt, or I would go as far as to say like an ashtray. Whereas ours has a smooth, unique flavor that is enhanced by some of the other ingredients to bring out the richness and flavor, but also provide and deliver a heaping load of efficiencies.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's go to the next slide, please. And before we go any further, I've got a comment on the taste. The taste. So I'm not by nature somebody that drinks a cup of coffee every single day, but we got samples of this a while back. If you were one of the people that got a sample and you just flipped out at how incredible the taste is, will you drop some comments in the chat right now? Because it blew my mind. After I take my nitro, I'm not looking for anything more to kind of like elevate my mood or my energy. But when I tried these samples, I had to have them every day. It is so good. Taste insane. And yeah, we were jokingly saying sometimes coffee tastes like you're licking an ashtray, right? It can. And I was fascinated also, Jaron, by the choice to use caffeine from green tea extract as a part of this formula. And so, will you share the thinking behind that? I think it's fascinating.
Sure. So taking a step back and looking at the coffee again, when we have different types of coffee in the market, oftentimes there's also a non-standardized value of caffeine in those coffees. And when we're making a coffee product, most people's expectation is they're going to get energy, cognition, and alertness. We wanted to make sure that we could standardize that as much as possible. And electing into introducing additional caffeine into the product, the best source of that is going to be caffeine from green tea. in which we'll get to in one of our next slides here in a second, but when it's paired with L-theanine, it specifically provides a slower, steady form of energy and cognition versus a traditional caffeine or coffee that, while it might provide alertness, is a lot more sharp and volatile. So it's very important that we were able to provide a smooth transition into the energy state and the need state that would be able to last for a significant period of time and also have a calm ease drop off instead of a spiky crash and jitters, which many people have already experienced.
Yeah. Let's go to the next slide because you were just talking about this, and I absolutely love this ingredient. This is an amino acid, L-theanine, that is defined as calm alertness. So it doesn't just calm you down. It literally shifts the way your brain activity works in a way that enhances relaxation, mental performance. I mean, it is this ingredient that evens it out and makes you feel truly like in the zone. So I love this. Tell us a little bit more about the L-theanine, Jaron.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but the L-theanine in conjunction with the caffeine creates a unique need state or mood state outside of just traditional caffeine that can be very intense, cause a whole slew of side effects. The L-theanine, with its ability to boost alpha brainwaves for calm focus, helps round out the effects of caffeine. So it makes it less sharp and more focused to a specific cognitive need state, while also promoting more of a creativity and a fluid state of concentration as opposed to something that is more sporadic.
Amazing. I love this ingredient and the way that it even enhances your you sleep better, right? Like this is just such a great addition to the formula. Love it. Next slide, please, Sean.
Quick note, I would not take this right before bed.
No, do not take it right before bed. No, do not drink the coffee right before bed. But when you have the coffee earlier in the day, we'll get to that. But when you have it earlier in the day, and the L-theanine benefit will help you sleep better at night. So lion's mane, you guys. Oh my gosh, this is definitely one of the really important stars in this show. It is a famous functional mushroom that is known for its neuroprotection. Um, some compounds within the lion's mane mushroom extract actually cross the blood-brain barrier. I'm going to let Jaron pronounce them for you, but literally the barrier can stimulate new nerve growth and just support our brain capacity in so many ways. So let's talk about the nerve growth factors, brain drive, nootropic factor, and how this encourages neuron growth and repair.
Sure. So in a previous formulation, we had covered, just to reiterate, tremella mushrooms, which is another species found in the snow collagen. Specifically in the coffee, we're right now looking at lion's mane, which is a different species, even though it still has some similar compounds to that of tremella and that of other mushrooms. What's really unique about lion's mane itself is it has micronutrients and compounds that are considered terpenoids. They're also considered, more specifically, things like hericenones and erinacines. And don't worry right now, those aren't necessarily words you have to remember, but they're good things to keep in mind because when we're looking at mushrooms, especially mushrooms in the market, we're oftentimes seeing it as XYZ milligrams, but that milligrams isn't necessarily an educational consideration to how much terpenoids or how much of these active compounds are in that mushroom or mushroom extract. So we actually went through the lengths of using a 22-to-1 concentrated form of these mushrooms in this specific product that allows us to have a value of hericenones, erinacines, and some other compounds I'll get to here in a minute, at values that we can quantify as well as standardize for product continuity. So when we're making this product constantly over and over again, we can have the confidence that what we're putting into it isn't just the marketing gimmick of the name, but also the active nutrients, compounds, and materials within each of these species that's going to make a difference to you.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the beta glucans that help to regulate immune signaling and support mental clarity, focus, long-term brain, healthy brain aging, long-term brain health. I mean, just I can't think of what more you would want in terms of brain support and enhanced cognitive performance, as well as with the polysaccharides in lion's mane. They protect neurons. And at the root of so many things that where we don't want to go with our health, at the root of that is oxidative stress and an unhealthy inflammatory response. And so these play a significant role in addressing and supporting the body and fighting oxidative stress, and also in creating a healthy inflammatory response in the body. So let's talk about polysaccharides and beta glucans, Jaron.
So when we want to think about polysaccharides, we want to take it to the opposite side of the spectrum that we were just in. When we're thinking about the iranacines and the hericinones and the terpenoids, those are micronutrients. Or another way to think about them is they're not necessarily found in abundance. So they're very small values of that available in the plant. Whereas polysaccharide would be considered more of a macronutrient, where actually a majority of the mushroom is going to be made up of this unique fiber polysaccharide. That's the infrastructure of the mushroom itself. So when we go to the various species, majority of them, if not all, are built up infrastructurally from polysaccharides. That said, as we go from species to species, those polysaccharides, the content, the type of polysaccharide that's physically in there is going to vary slightly. So when we're referring to a lion's mane, we're looking at B1,3 and B1,6 glucans. And you'll hear in a minute why that'll differ from some of the other mushrooms. And these glucans and glucan protein complexes essentially work synergistically for the digestive and immune system support and helping to regulate gut biosis.
You guys, this is such a big deal. This ingredient is really, really a special part of this formula. Let's go to the next slide, because Jaron, I know that this is one of the ingredients that you really love. Not just its origin and not just what it does, but just the whole picture of it, rich in polyphenols, anthocyanins, proanthocyanidins. You can say it. I'm going to let you say it. Tell us about, why is this special Sicilian grape extract? Why?
Sure. So again, referring back to what we'd said at the beginning of our call today, we wanted to do 9 ingredients or less. And oftentimes companies evaluate how they can make something come to fruition, what their goal is, and need to introduce several synthetic or compounded ingredients in order to get an effect. We were able to do this by just using whole fruit, whole food ingredients. And in the instance of this grape extract, which is only grown in Sicily, it harbors a unique micro and macro nutrient content from the soil, which unfortunately we can't replicate in the US. And from this, it's able to have fairly high concentrations, as Margie had said, of the anthocyanins and the proanthocyanins and polyphenols. It also has something called cinnamonic acid, and these compounds help for cognition, focus, and they also support healthy blood flow and vascular integrity. I would say taking multiple doses of the Nueva morning would be viable for those that are experienced or don't have caffeine insensitivity. Specifically, a double dose of this Sicilian grape in the Nueva morning would be a noticeable change. But overall, the Sicilian grape extract is just an opportunity for us to put in a really powerful cognitive enhancer or nootropic ingredient without the need of anything synthetic.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So brilliant. Every single ingredient deliberately selected, everyone, every ingredient serving a multiplicity of purposes and benefits. Let's go to our next slide, Sean. Chromium picolinate. Let's talk about the role of chromium picolinate in this formula. So this is a really important ingredient because, and I want you to notice as you hear us using some phrases that we use to describe maybe Nueva Body or Nueva Nitro, and just look at that little bit of synchronicity that we're getting. But what this does, and I know Nueva Body does this as well, but it supports insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. I mean, bottom line is when your insulin sensitivity is optimized and your blood sugar is stable, your body is way less likely to store your excess glucose as fat. And the importance of this is over time of using this and having access to the chromium picolinate in this formula, it will improve your body composition. Where have you heard that? I mean, how exciting is it that there is such a synchronicity between this, amazing cup of Joe and our other products. So it will support body composition, healthy body composition, fat loss, lean muscle mass. I mean, what an amazing companion to Nueva Body. So talk about the role, if you would, of chromium picolinate, please.
I was going to say, I think you took my job.
I think I did your job on that one. It's because I love this ingredient.
The only thing I can really add is, as we'll see in the next slide, is we've built the chromium and the next ingredient, Ceylon cinnamon, together to be able to have some unique synergies amongst the ingredients. Well, in a second, you'll see the cinnamon, which has a flavor versus filler value. It's just important to note and reiterate that chromium is a really essential mineral that helps to aid in the metabolization of carbohydrates and also improving insulin sensitivity.
Right? Like if it can level out your blood sugar and you don't get that spike where insulin comes in and then everything is stored as fat, every extra thing that you can't use immediately for fuel. I mean, this is a really important ingredient. This is in Nueva Morning, you guys. I mean, incredible. So yes, let's go to the next slide now. I love the synergy that you've created between the chromium picolinate and the Ceylon cinnamon, which, as they say, the Ceylon cinnamon is the real cinnamon. Take it away.
Indeed. So Ceylon cinnamon, not to be confused with cassia cinnamon, which is often what you'll find at your local grocery store in the spice section. Cassia cinnamon oftentimes has a more pungent flavor. Whereas Ceylon cinnamon does have a pretty unique flavor, has a really great cinnamon flavor, but it also has unique compounds in it that you would not find in a traditional cassia cinnamon. So as mentioned in our previous slide, we pair the cinnamon and the chromium picolinate together so we can give the benefits of them together to you. The cinnamon will also help to support and improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar levels. It also will be a mood modulator. And going back to the beginning of the presentation, we really wanted to impart the cinnamon and the cacao to offer functional flavoring elements where the ingredients are not just there for flavor, but they actually have a secondary or third function built into it. So they're all purpose selected ingredients.
This Ceylon cinnamon gives us better use of our fats and carbohydrates and being able to use them as fuel versus being stored as fat. Once again, that symbiotic relationship between this and the chromium, supporting cognition and healthy body composition. Next slide, Sean.
Mm,
So, oh, I love this ingredient as
one of my
well.
favorites.
Ah, it just has such broad spectrum benefits. I've been a fan of cordyceps for a while, and the fact that we've got it in this formula just makes me really excited. So, cordyceps will help improve. Now, listen for the synergy that you might have heard with other products of ours. It will help improve ATP production at the cellular level. Can you believe that this is in Nueva morning also? At the cellular level for stamina, and cordyceps also support oxygen utilization. So they have some respiratory benefits. And I'm going to turn it to you now, but as a part of this, I'd like you to explain VO2 max, what that means, how this works in this formula, and just address all of it.
Sure. So cordyceps is probably at the moment my favorite functional mushroom. Reason being is it has again those micronutrients and those macronutrients. Some of the micronutrients that are found in it you don't see in anything else in the world unless you make it synthetically. Some of those compounds include things like cordycepin, cordymin, adenosine. There's also going to be that same polysaccharide setup, except for the polysaccharides in here are going to be a little bit different than what you would see in the lion's mane. The polysaccharide peptide complex is actually comprised of beta 1, 3D glucan. Now, why
Get
does
that
it
distinction there, guys. Get that
well,
D
I'm
in
going to
there.
explain why does this matter? We looked at 1 comma 3 and 1 comma 6, and there was a correlation for benefit for digestive biosis or gut biosis and immunity. Specifically, when we're looking at D-glucan, we see the increase in liver and muscle glycogen content. So it actually suggests clinically that there is an anti-fatigue effect versus what we've seen in the lion's mane, which might not be something that you can feel immediately. The cordyceps has the polysaccharides for the actual increase of the muscle glycogen storage, but also when it comes to VO2 max, which I have to give a definition for. VO2 max is essentially the material oxygen capacity that your body has. It's essentially a measure of the body's ability to use oxygen during a physical period of stress or exercise or working out. The cordyceps militaris has an ability to increase this VO2 max for you. So those that are predisposed to, high altitude sickness or breathing or feeling a little bit more tired during exercise, this cordyceps will actually increase overall energy and increase your ability to hold and store oxygen in your lungs. So a way to kind of combat some of those unique elements. The cordyceps militaris also has a unique ability to give you stamina and energy, but the energy that it provides is more of a positive affect, if you will, in the mind versus something that's going to be stimulating in the sense of caffeine. So building this into the profile allows us to be full circle comprehensive in terms of physical energy, mental energy, social energy, fully comprehensive.
And what I've experienced with cordyceps is that it's kind of a layer underneath our energy. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but when you might not notice a difference until you call on it. And whether part of that has, a mental component or what, you just feel like you've got more. There's more endurance. There's more stamina. So just a really incredible ingredient. Guys, this is in our Nueva morning. Do you love this or what? Drop some love in the comments. Next slide, please. Here's an ingredient that we all know and love. So cacao is rich in flavonoids. And if you're saying, what's a flavonoid? This is just a large family of plant-based phytonutrients that come from fruits or vegetables, from wine sometimes, teas. And they call it the food of the gods because it improves blood flow, cognitive support, endorphin release, you guys, endorphin release. So it impacts mood and it reduces stress response. An amazing ingredient added for flavor, but so much more, Jaron.
You stole it from me.
Oh, baby, go. Sorry.
No, you're great. You did it better than I would. So the cacao, it's rich in antioxidants. It has the polyphenols, as Margie had alluded to. It's really a unique ingredient. It's very versatile in terms of how you can use it. Granted, it does have some unique properties, but its flavor is so pungent relative to how much that you actually need, and there's so much efficacy in small doses that it's an ingredient that when you can use it, we try to incorporate, assuming it makes sense. But it's a powerhouse that fights oxidative stress, and when paired with our Ceylon cinnamon, delivers a really unique taste profile to the Nueva morning, outside of its functionality.
So exciting. Guys, can you even believe this? Um, Cheers to Jaron for another incredible formula. We cannot wait to get our hands on this. Next slide. This is just kind of a little bit of a summary slide here. You got 9 ingredients, natural ingredients for the brain and the body. They will bring sharper focus, clarity, energy without the crash, no jitters. It enhances nerve growth factors and brain-derived neurotropic factors for brain growth and resilience, you guys. And I love the healthy aging part, right? Like just the plasticity neurologically, polyphenols, antioxidants, protecting neurons from decline, balancing blood sugar and metabolism. Can you believe all this is going on in one product that we can access every day in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever we decide we want it? It will pair so well with the other products and support. The synergies are insane. It also boosts oxygen utilization and endurance, a daily ritual, both energizing and nourishing. So if you would, Sean, next, you want to add anything to this, Jaron? Let me turn it to you for a minute.
I think that you've done an amazing job. I do want to make sure that we're really hitting in on the NGF, neural growth factor, the BDNF, the brain drive neurotropic factor. These are really unique ingredients. And again, you may have seen in the market lion's mane, cordyceps, or some of these names. We're very intentional in putting these ingredients in where it's not just the name or mycelium grown on rice, but actually these active constituents we've talked about tonight are in the products themselves. And I think that that's really important because I think there's a bit of miseducation in the market as a whole, in that people think they have to take specific milligram quantities of certain substances or botanical ingredients. That's not always the case.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And guys, the great news is we can order it tomorrow. It will ship on the 6th of October. And here's how you can get your hands on it. Let me also mention right here, right now, this first batch that we have is a limited supply. So when this goes on tomorrow morning, we all know how quickly things can move here, right? Convention tickets selling out in 16 hours, right? So jump on this tomorrow. However you slice it, whether you decide that you want to go with a single bag of your want a solo morning solo or a duo or a trio, you're going to, on your first order only, get a free bag of nitro. Which is just an absolutely incredible value. You can look at any of these price points here. They work out to be $225 to $250 a day for all the nutritional benefits that we just talked about. You guys, I love it when we nail it like this. We in our previous company we had a functional beverage coffee, and it tastes like crap. I'm not kidding. It was so bad. Michelle Barnes got me drinking it though anyway, because I wanted the brain benefits. But you guys, to nail it like this so that a customer could try it and say, I need that. I need that. I need that every day. I mean, this, guys, this is a home run. Jaron, last words here, honey, before we wrap.
I appreciate you having me on tonight. Thank you. And if there's any questions that anyone has, feel free to send them over to Margie and we'll address them in a follow-up.
So here you go. Pick up your morning solo, your morning duo, or your trio. I'm going with the trio because I got a couple of houses and I need to have at least one bag in both. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Jaron, you might be one of the smartest people I know in my whole world.
Don't be ridiculous. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you again for having me on, and I look forward to having some future educational sessions here in a couple of weeks or months.
Well, and as I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. There's going to be another product that we're launching together. We're not going to say anything about it. Definitely not going to spill the beans on this one. But Jaron will be with us in Dallas and launching another new product there. So you guys just show him some love in the chat. He's so brilliant, and I'm so grateful that we as a founders team are so grateful that we've got this connection and the deliberateness and the brilliance that you bring to formulating. So thank you,
Thank you. I
everybody.
appreciate that.
Enjoy Nueva morning. Thank you, Sean, for facilitating and for the technology piece. We love y'all. Good night, everyone.
Take care.